Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Vanessa and I am an indie author and I publish under the pen name A.N. Sage. If you are a returning viewer, part of this community, welcome again. I'm so excited to see you on this again and kind of talk to you again on this little platform that we have here. And if you are new, I hope you consider sticking around and subscribing. I publish weekly videos. A lot of it has to do with writing and writing tips. I have been publishing for quite some time now. I have 15 books that I have published. So I've picked up some tips along the way and I made a lot of mistakes that I kind of want to help prevent you from making. So other than that, I also talk a lot about things like planning, different tools that you can use if you are an author. They also talk a lot about the creative journey because there is a lot that I do that doesn't have to do with writing at all as part of just kind of like my entrepreneurship and creative entrepreneurship career. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, then we would love to have you here. Today, I am talking about something that is very important, something that I didn't even think of myself. This is another question from one of the people in our little community here. So they asked me a question and they asked me if I could talk about how to stay creative during hectic times. And I thought that that was such a great question because I don't know if you know, but I'm right now going through a very hectic time myself. I am a first-time brand new mom. I just had a baby and I also work for myself, so I don't really get like a proper mat leave. So I do have to balance quite a lot. So it's hectic. Hectic time is a great way to describe what my life is at right now. So I thought it was a fantastic way to kind of like talk about how you can stay creative during these times and how I'm trying to stay creative during these times. That might help you if you're going through a hectic time yourself, or if you just have like a busy schedule, a busy life, and you're trying to be creative, especially if you are an author and you're trying to write a book while also doing all this other stuff. And I think this will be actually very useful for people who are doing creative things and for authors, writers who are doing writing not as their full-time gig. So if you're an artist or a writer, or you just do anything else creative, if you own like a creative Etsy shop or something like that, but that's not your full-time career or a full-time job, and you actually have a full-time job on the side, then the word hectic really does apply. And so I just want to talk about different ways that I think would be a great way to keep creative and stay creative when you really don't want to be creative at all, or when you're tired, or when there's just not enough time in the day. So the first one that I think is kind of a useful thing to do is to find a creative hobby. So whether it's like knitting, crocheting, painting, working with like designing, like different plant arrangements or whatever, just something that is creative for you, like jewelry making maybe, and definitely a hobby. So not something you're thinking of making money out of, not something that you would be disappointed if you didn't do every day, not something that you feel is a chore to do every day. So something that when you sit down to do it, it's really relaxing for you. It's a hobby, but it has to be creative. So make sure it is creative. So not like watching TV or anything like that. I know quite a few people that get those almost paint by number things, or there are also ones with gems and stuff that you can glue on the gems by number basically, and you make these canvases and these paintings and stuff. And a lot of people that I know that have very busy lives are really into it as a creative outlet because it's relaxing, it's repetitive work, and then in the end you get this really cool thing you can like hang up in your house, right? It's for the same reason that those adult coloring books are very, very popular, and I guess still are for a lot of people. So if you want to find a creative hobby, I find that it will spark something in you. So anytime that I'm kind of like in a slump or I don't have enough time in the day, I will do some digital painting. Now, I am a designer. So I'm a cover designer. So I do digital painting just kind of for my job as well. But I have started to take on illustration. So I got like a huge, nice little tablet for me that I can draw on. And I started illustration as a hobby. It's not something that I am charging anything for. It's just something that I'm doing that is creative, that I want to learn and teach myself how to do, because I don't know how to do full-on illustration, right? I work a lot with photo bashing, with overpainting and things like that, and there's still digital painting involved, but it's not just illustration. It's not start to finish. And so for me, that is a creative hobby. And when I'm feeling like I am super busy and I don't have time to work on my books, to promote the cover design business or do any of that stuff, to like work on the Etsy shop or the courses, then what I do is I give myself a break. I give myself an hour where I'm not stressed out, where I'm not forcing myself to work, where I just kind of sit down and I paint. And that's my creative hobby. And I find that when I do that, the next day, my creativity, even though it may have been at a low point for all this other stuff that does pay the bills, it may have been at a low point for those, but once I do something where I don't feel pressure to be creative, and I just like, if I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. I find I want to be creative more. So doing something that's a hobby can spark creativity as part of your job. Another one, and this is very specific, I guess, but it's specific to me, and so it could be for other people, are tarot cards. Using tarot cards to get your creativity going. So if you haven't seen, like if you're not familiar with tarot cards, but essentially they're just cards that people use for divination, I guess, but they're also like there's oracle decks and things like that. So look into it. I'm not gonna kind of explain what tarot cards are. I could do a video about it later if you're interested. But I use my tarot cards to kind of get me going and get me creative all the time, because the imagery in a tarot card is just so intrinsically creative that when you pull a card, I tend to use them a lot as prompts for writing, for painting, for anything, for even cover design work. Like I will pull a card and just think about how I can design a cover for this card. And that really gets my creative juices going. So pulling tarot cards or any other type of similar thing, like, I don't know, even working on a puzzle that has imagery, it could inspire you. But I find tarot cards are a great way because you can literally pull them and use them as prompts for your creativity. Another really, really good way, and one of the probably the best ways, but also the most difficult way, is to find other people. So other writers, other artists, other like-minded individuals who enjoy the same things creatively as you, and you guys can kind of bounce off each other. So my friends that are writers are really, really helpful. I have a few graphic designers and photographer friends, some cover designer friends, and all of these people that are just as creative as me and in very similar creative field, go through the same slumps that I do, but they don't necessarily go through them at the same time. And so we always continue to encourage each other. So finding a group of like-minded individuals is very, very useful to kind of help you get that creativity going, especially when times are tough, because you can just send a text message. You can just talk to someone on social media. You can have a phone call or a quick FaceTime call. And it doesn't take much. You don't have to go out somewhere to meet them. Like, we can really do anything online these days. And there's also the idea that, like, you don't have to be around other people to be creative. And I think that's yes and no. But if you are of the mindset that you like to be independently creative, which I sometimes am as well, I can be a bit of a shut-in. I think a lot of creatives can be, but you could look into journaling. So for me, journaling has been incredibly freeing. I can do it at any point in the day. So I don't have to do it during the day when I'm very busy. I can do it at night. I can do it first thing in the morning. I can do it while I'm waiting for something in the car, right? So taking on journaling can really, really spark your creativity and get you going, just because it is a way to write, which is creative. And if you're already a writer, it's very useful, but there's also no constraints on it. So you're kind of free form writing. And as you're writing, you're also thinking. It's kind of like taking a walk or something, right? Because if you're not really thinking about something very specific, if you're just journaling away, other ways to be creative might come up. You might spark an idea. So a lot of times if I'm stuck on, say, a book idea, I will just forget about that for a second. And I will go and I will sit down and I will just journal. I will journal about my day, about my week, about how I'm feeling. I will do some mindset training. I will try to kind of do manifest journaling and things like that. And I'll just do anything that involves me just sitting down in a quiet room, maybe light a candle, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, and I will just write. And as I'm writing, a lot of times, whatever I was thinking about in the book, a plot hole, a character I don't know how to fully develop or how to close an arc on, that will come to me. And I can journal for literally 10 to 15 minutes. And it's a lot of times it's enough to get me excited and to get me to be creative, because the act of journaling in itself is already creative. You're already being creative by journaling. A very important note, I think, to make is as far as it comes to any of these things that I'm saying, the one very important tip that I have for you to be creative during hectic times is try getting off of social media. So try putting the phone down, walking away from your screens, and try reading or going outside or watching a movie with like a family member or a friend or something, but just try not being on social media. I find social media can be draining to creativity. And if you're already having like a very hectic schedule, a busy schedule, or just like a lot of stuff going on that might not be like super positive, having that drain on you, like emotionally, is not going to make you want to be creative. It's just going to suck you in, right? Like it's like that whole like funny TikTok thing where people will be like, oh, hours have passed and I've just been on TikTok. But it's that, because you're on TikTok and you're watching, and you're just like getting like into these things, and it really sucks you in. But then it doesn't make you want to be creative. It just makes you want to be on TikTok more. And that's the beauty of just social media platforms, right? Like they're designed to suck you in. So try turning your phone off, and try doing something else instead that doesn't involve any kind of social. And you'd be surprised about like how fast you will reawaken your need to be creative when you're not constantly thinking about like a meme, a tweet, a GIF, or whatever, right? Another good way to do something that's creative when you're very, very busy is to work on another part of the project. So I find like, especially in something like writing, if I am not feeling the writing part itself, the actual like super creative part, the drafting, if I'm not feeling that part, like if I'm just like, I can't, like I just, my day has been crazy and I just cannot get into the mood to write, I will work on planning something for the project, brainstorming, looking for images for characters, for places, like just inspiration images, working on Pinterest boards and stuff like that. So working on different parts of the project that is still me being creative and being a part of the project, but not necessarily doing the full scale creative part, which is the writing part. But that's a really great way to still be creative without actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're completely stuck, let's say that you've tried all of these things, it doesn't work, but you're just like sitting there in whatever you usually sit, and like you just cannot in any shape or form just force yourself to be creative in any way, consider redesigning your work area. So wherever you usually sit, take some maybe time, take a week, take a month, and think about how you can slowly redesign it. Add some things, take away some things, paint a wall. Make it different. You might just be in a slump because you're used to seeing the same thing all the time. An easier way to do that is switch where you are. Switch where you normally are creative, and see if that helps, because you might just be tired of seeing the same surroundings and being in the same environment every time. I find that while I absolutely love working in my office, a lot of times I will not write in my office. I will write on the couch. I will write in the car. I will write in the bedroom. I will not write at the same time during the day, but I will write everywhere else except my office, because I find that I associate my office with a different type of work. I usually do all of my cover design work in here. I'll do some reading in here, but I like to write somewhere else because I need a change of environment. So a change of scenery would work. For the most part, I find that when I move stuff around in my office, like I'll take like a bookcase and move it somewhere else, or a chair or something, or I'll like put different art on the wall. just doing that kind of helps me get into a more creative mindset as well. And when all else fails, if you're having trouble being creative during a hectic time, just walk away. There's nothing out there that says like you have to be creative. The whole point of being a creative person and doing creative things, especially if you're doing them for a living, is not to be stressed about it, because once you become stressed about it, you stop being creative. And you need that in order to get yourself going every day. And so just walk away. Don't force yourself to be creative. Walk away for a day, 2 days, a week, a few months. I've walked away from writing for several months at a time before. And I found that when I got back into it, everything that I wrote was that much stronger, that much better, because I had a break and I needed that break before I had a burnout, right? The last thing you want to do as a creative person is burn out, because once you do that, there's no telling how long it'll be until you're able to come back, if you ever are. So if you feel yourself really strained, if you've tried a whole bunch of stuff and you just cannot get into a creative mindset, just leave it alone. Do something else. It's okay. There's no pressure on that. Make time for yourself. Hang out with family, with friends. Just do anything but what you think you're supposed to do. And for all you know, it might just take a few days, a few hours even, and you'll be back right at it. So those are my tips for you for how you can stay creative during hectic times, during busy schedules, during busy lives, and during times when you just might not feel creative at all. I hope you guys found that useful. As always, thank you so much for watching the whole video. If you're still here, that's amazing. And thank you for subscribing if you have, or if you haven't and you're considering it. I would love it if you stuck around for a few more and watched some videos in the future. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful summer so far, or the start of what seems to be summer. We're kind of slowly getting into the warmer weather here. So hopefully where you are, it's super warm and super nice and not too depressing and just gloomy and rainy. And I will see you guys next week. Stay magical and talk to you soon. Bye.